Hello everybody, Curious Corduroy, as well as my vast virus database has just been updated as I'm starting this video. But I'm Curious Corduroy. Today you guys are seeing some footage of sleeping dogs, and sleeping doggies, sleeping puppies. This game is really awesome so far. And it wasn't the kind of game where I was like, oh my god, I can't wait to play this game. I didn't follow it, like some hardcore people would. I knew a little bit about the game. I knew it started out as a true crime kind of game. Well, it didn't even start out as a true crime game, actually. The developer behind it, United Front, decided to just make a game the way they wanted to make it. Activision saw what they were doing. They got a hold of the company. They're like, hey, we like what you guys are doing, but we just want you to do one thing. Make this game a true crime game. And they didn't really make it a true crime game. They just slapped on the title True Crime Hong Kong, and that's kind of how a lot of people are like, "Oh, Sleeping Dogs, it's a true crime sequel." And so before they even started calling it Sleeping Dogs, they just called it, True Crime Hong Kong. Activision, I don't know what happened. They got butt hurt. They didn't like what United Front was doing. They dropped the company, and they're like, "You guys are on your own. Do what you want." And then Square Enix comes along, and they pick them up as the publisher, and they were like, "Hey, make the game you guys were going to make before all this, hoopla. I don't know if people say hoopla anymore, but after all this hoopla, happened, just do what you guys want to do. Do you, and we'll support you." That's basically what they're saying. They're like good parents, like any good parents that you'd want to have. So United Front was like, all right, you know what? This is no more true crime. They ditched the true crime name because that was all that it was in terms of being related to true crime, was just the title. That was about it. So they called it Sleeping Dogs, and then they United Front. I'm going to say UF instead of United Front, saying their name constantly. UF decide, okay, this is what we're going to do. It's going to be called Sleeping Dongs. Sleeping Dogs. It's going to be called Sleeping Dongs. Sleeping Dogs is the title. So they called it Sleeping Dogs. They did what they wanted with it, and so far this game is really awesome. You guys are going to see a mix of footage here because I captured for about a half hour, and I didn't want to give away like any spoiler parts, so I'm probably going to cut out the cutscenes. I don't have any of the footage together just yet. But you guys will most likely see, some of the tutorial stuff as you start out. Just basically running, learning how to maneuver, jump over obstacles. And then you'll get to see some fighting, a lot of the brawling, and then the first mission itself where you have to run around and collect debts and then, defend yourself as well as fight off some goons. So as far as that goes, the presentation so far is really awesome. The graphics are really good, the sound is good, the voice acting is really good. They got a lot of famous actors into this game. A lot of the names I'm blanking on right now, but the three that I do remember, or four that I currently do remember, are Kelly Hu. She voices somebody in this game, Lucy Liu, Emma Stone, which is kind of a random one. I don't know who she voices, but I saw the name Emma Stone, so if it's the Emma Stone that I'm thinking of, and you guys are thinking of the extremely attractive, gorgeous redhead that most of us are all in love with, she does a voice in this game. Also, Robin Shu, if you guys remember from Mortal Kombat, the movies, he played Liu Kang. I'm assuming it's the same Robin Shu. He does a voice also in this game as well. So the presentation for the game is really well done. The cutscenes are well done. The voice acting is really well done, and it's believable. There's a mixture of English as well as Cantonese, both spoken, and you can use the subtitles to read the Cantonese if you would like that. If you speak Cantonese already and you understand it, then you don't need the subtitles, but if you'd like to, those are there. So they did put a lot of work into the presentation. So far, this game is really sucking me in. The only game that I was really playing for the last few weeks pretty much consistently was Dark Souls. Ryan really got me into Dark Souls. He's a fanatic about that game. He's beaten that multiple times and enjoys it. I was just now getting into the game about a couple weeks ago, and I really liked it. Very hard game, but eventually you kind of learn to roll with the punches. And I see Sleeping Dogs, or Sleeping Dongs, if you want to call it that, as being a game that's going to really capture my attention and pull me away from Dark Souls for sure. So it looks like I'm going to be playing Sleeping Dogs until I beat it. So there's going to be a lot to do because it is an open world game. Based on what I've heard from other people say, it's a nice mix between Grand Theft Auto. It's not as big as Grand Theft Auto, but it's bigger than Yakuza. So that's pretty cool. In terms of like open world games, I kind of lost interest in Grand Theft Auto with number 4. About halfway through the game, I just got kind of bored with it and just stopped playing, and I What's funny is I stopped playing that, and over the course of time, I beat Saints Row. I beat Saints Row 2 and Saints Row the Third. And Saints Row was just able to capture my attention because it was what Grand Theft Auto used to be, times 10. You know, there was just zany, crazy action, beating people up, you know, hitting people with dildos, running them over, and they fly like 100 feet into the air. And Grand Theft Auto kind of strayed away from that, which is cool. You know, Rockstar wants to change the series a little bit, but that's, you know, what they wanted to do. But so as far as Sleeping Dogs go, it seems like it's going to be more of a serious kind of game, but not as big as Grand Theft Auto, which is a really nice thing. It seems like it's the right size in terms of the scope of what they're doing with the game and all that. I haven't gotten out to the open world yet, and I haven't done any of the gunplay or driving around just yet. All I've basically done so far at the beginning of the game is the melee combat and just running around. But I have finished the first mission, so I'm assuming I'm free to roam around now, which is pretty cool, and just kind of explore, see all the sights and sounds. And they really nailed that. I've never been to any of these places you see in the game, but you walk through markets, you know, there's chickens hanging from the walls, there's people speaking Cantonese all over the place, there's fry cooks, there's people hawking, you know, bootleg DVDs. And I'm not saying that, you know, China or Japan or any Asian country, that's all they do. But that's the stereotypical point of view that you see in a lot of films, and they nailed that perfectly with Sleeping Dogs. The voice acting is really well done so far. The characters come off as believable. And you really feel for the main character as well. He lost his sister, and he's, you know, an undercover cop just trying to make some kind of headway. And he may even possibly betray his cop friends just for a vendetta to try and, you know, avenge his sister. Which is not a spoiler, by the way. It's right at the beginning of the game to let you know that. But so far, yeah, I'm really liking that. The game looks great. The combat is a lot of fun. Like a lot of brawlers nowadays, they've been really inspired, I would say, by Batman, Arkham City, and Arkham Asylum. And I know that the Batman games weren't the ones to originate, you know, or introduce, I should say, you know, the simplistic combat with, you know, still a level of deepness to it where you're pressing one button to attack and another to counter. But the Batman games were the ones that really got it right. You know, they hit the nail on the head. And, you know, games like Captain America, the Spider-Man games, and now Sleeping Dogs have all adapted the whole combat system that's similar to Arkham. And I like the way Sleeping Dogs does it. You know, you have an attack button, you have a counter button, you have a grapple button. So it's pretty simple, but there's still a level of deepness to it. You know, if you just press the attack button once, you do a normal attack. A light attack is what they would call it, and if you hold that button down, you do a heavy attack. So it's pretty cool. You can just press XX twice, you know, do 2 punches, and then if you hold it down, you'll knee a guy, so you'll add in the heavy. And then enemies, they glow red to let you know that they're about to attack you, so you can press the counter button to counter them. You can grapple guys, and there's a lot of cool things you can do when you grapple them. You can throw them down to the ground and beat their ass. You can basically just grab them and just start punching the shiz out of them. You can grab them and then interact with the environment. So you can kick them into a phone booth and like kick their chest in. You can do my favorite one so far is you grab a guy, you throw him on a counter. And you know how counters have like those gates on top to close the counter when, you know, that certain market area is closed. You knock the guy over the counter, you jump up, you grab the railing, and you bring it down on the guy's torso. And it is so brutal to watch, but you feel so cool and badass once you've, you know, accomplished this feat. So, yeah, the combat system is really well done. It feels fluid, it feels responsive like it should. And it's just a lot of fun. I can't wait to unlock more moves, you know, to show off. And it's cool taking on all these groups of enemies. You really feel like a badass, you know, kind of like Batman did. So I feel like Sleeping Dogs, you know, really knocked that part of the game out of the park, you know, in comparison with, you know, like Captain America or the Spider-Man games. Those games didn't really feel as fluid as Batman did, but Sleeping Dogs feels just right. In terms of how it controls, and it does control well. You know, maneuvering is easy, jumping over obstacles is easy, sprinting is simple. But like I said, I haven't gotten to any of the driving or the shooting portions just yet, but when I do, I will make sure to update you guys on the video. But so far the game is really, really fun. It's really sucking me in, and it feels a lot like a movie, but the kind of movie that has the right balance of playing the game and being a movie. So as far as I know, that's all I wanted to talk about. Yeah, so if I get any farther, within the certain coming weeks or days, I will update you guys and let you guys know. I just held back a yawn, so that's why it sounded weird. But I am Curious Corduroy. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you all have a very nice day. Sleeping Dongs, brand new title. That's the X-rated version. Sleeping Dongs.